Hello, welcome to the weekly highlights program on Azərbaycan Televiziya with the major developments of this week. I'm Gülər Qocayeva. Now first, let's take a brief look at the top of the some stories of this week. This week, President İlham Əliyev chaired a meeting dedicated to the outcomes of 2020. President İlham Əliyev appointed Anar Kərimov the Minister of Culture of the Republic of Azerbaijan. On January 6, President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, İlham Əliyev chaired a meeting in the video format on the results of 2020.
Addressing the meeting, the head of state said that the main result of 2020 was the liberation of our lands from the occupation. In 44 days, Azerbaijan won a historic victory, liberated its lands, dealt crushing blows to the enemy, and defeated Armenia. President İlham Əliyev said that as a result of this defeat, Armenia was forced to sign an act of surrender, and through a political solution, 3 districts were returned to us without a single shot being fired, without a single loss. Thus, we put an end to Armenia's 30-year policy of aggression. Our glorious victory demonstrated to the world our strong will, the strong will of our people, said President İlham Əliyev, adding that there was no difference between our words and deeds, and Azerbaijan had honorably fulfilled its main task thanks to its political, economic and military power. We have restored historical justice. We have shown our strengths to the whole world. We have shown that no one can withstand against our will. President İlham Əliyev said the parliamentary elections were held in the country in 2020. Dialogue with political parties was strengthened and personnel reforms were continued. He spoke about the work done to eliminate the consequences of the pandemic. The head of state noted that although the economy shrank by more than 4% last year, our non-oil industry grew by more than 11%. Moreover, agriculture, average monthly wages and pensions have increased, and the oil fund's resources have not decreased, but increased. Thus, Azerbaijan has preserved its currency reserves. Noting that another good news came at the end of the year on December 31st, President İlham Əliyev said that the last segment of the 1,000 gas corridor, TOP, had been fully commissioned. For the first time in history, Azerbaijani gas is already in Europe. This is our historic achievement. President İlham Əliyev praised the work of international organizations in our country. The improvement in Azerbaijan's rating in the World Bank's Doing Business report, its 28th ranking among 190 countries, and its inclusion in the top 10 reformist countries. The head of state also listed the success of Azerbaijan in the report of the Davos World Economic Forum. President İlham Əliyev stressed that extensive construction work will be carried out in the liberated lands this year and gave instructions in this regard.
On January 5th, President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, İlham Əliyev, received in a video format Anar Kərimov on the appointment as Minister of Culture. Azerbaijan's rich and unique culture is a source of pride for all of us. We must protect our culture and cultural heritage. President İlham Əliyev expressed these views during a video conference on the appointment of Anar Kərimov as Minister of Culture. The head of state said for centuries our people had preserved their culture, and this had allowed us as a people, as a nation, the opportunity to preserve our national and spiritual values and our national identity. President İlham Əliyev stressed the importance of hard work to be undertaken by the Ministry of Culture together with other relevant agencies such as the Ministry of Education and the Azerbaijan National Academy of Sciences to protect the mother tongue, saying that 2021 was declared as a year of Nizami and that the 880th anniversary of the Great Point should be celebrated extensively. Dwelling on the importance of first development of rich Azerbaijani music, mugham, the ashuk art, as well as the art of carpet weaving, the head of state stressed the uniqueness of architectural works in our country. President İlham Əliyev said that all religious monuments were protected and restored in Azerbaijan, adding that more than 60 mosques were destroyed by our enemies, and no international organization has ever condemned Armenia for that. The head of state said the restoration of cultural facilities and cultural centers in the destroyed areas is one of the top priorities of the Ministry of Culture. Therefore, all our destroyed historical sites and cultural centers should be listed. Their previous appearance should be prepared. Their restoration or reconstruction must not spoil their original appearance. President İlham Əliyev declared Shusha city as the capital of the Azerbaijani culture and said that it can be considered not only the cultural capital of Azerbaijan but also of the entire region. Emphasizing the importance of major repairs and restoration of our mosques in Shusha, the head of state said that the repair of only one mosque in Shusha by Armenia, which destroyed more than 60 mosques, was propaganda. President İlham Əliyev instructed the minister to revise the mosque's interior, noting that it will be renovated and return to its original appearance, giving instructions to resume the Hare Bülbül festival in the poetry days of Vagif in Shusha this year.
The head of state said UNESCO has a lot of information about Azerbaijan's contribution to the world cultural heritage and the success of our country's multicultural society, and drew attention to the fact that appeals to UNESCO regarding our destroyed monuments remain unanswered. President İlham expressed his readiness to continue cooperation with UNESCO, but only if UNESCO maintain its international status. UNESCO is not a branch of any country. If this approach prevails in our relations, there will be cooperation. Emphasizing the protection and preservation of our cultural heritage, the promotion of Azerbaijani culture in the world, the awareness of the younger generation of Azerbaijani culture, cultural heritage, and the redevelopment of the role of the Ministry of Culture and educating our youth in the national spirit, the head of state wished Anar Kerimov success in his activities. Minister of Culture Anar Kerimov assured the head of state to fulfill given instructions and responsibilities with dignity and thanked President İlham for the trust shown to him.
I've been so brutally assaulted that my internal organs, lungs and edema were destroyed. I wasn't allowed to sleep at night. They put something under my bed that I can still hear it. This statement was made by our compatriot Shahbaz Guliyev, who was illegally held hostage by Armenia for 6.5 years. At the press conference organized by State Commission for Prisoners of War, Hostages and Missing Persons, Dilgan Maskarov and our serviceman Amin Musayev, who were released from captivity and brought home, also spoke about the atrocities of the Armenians.
According to Shahbaz Guliyev, who had been kept in Armenian hostage for many years, in order to receive water, they had to knock on the door and ask for water, and the Armenians would give them water if they were in a mood. When we asked for food, they would warm up the food, but the food was sour. It was impossible to eat it, but if you didn't eat, they would throw it away. When I asked for permission to go to a restroom, I saw that they threw my plate before the toilet. When I was in Azerbaijan, I went 120 kilos. I dropped down to 63 kilos. He said that he had been bitten so bad they were injecting him with painkillers. In Yerevan, my feet were swollen. I was beaten every day, kicked and stomped. My liver and lungs are severely damaged. My arm is broken. My nose is broken. There are scars on my head. Dilgan Maskarov said he had been tortured in Khankendi for a year, and they broke 2 fingers on each of his hands. There are cracks on my head. I was not fed during that year in Khankendi. I weighed for about 105 kilos and dropped down to 55 kilos. After Azerbaijani army entered Shusha, I was taken to Goros. In Goros, when I was getting out of the vehicle, they tripped me down to the floor and kicked me for about 5 to 10 minutes. In Goros jail, a major stole my belongings. Then, when they came to take us to Yerevan, they beat us up again. They put on a plastic bag on my head. I was barefoot in the cold vehicle. I believed from the very first day that it would not take long for us to be freed. I was listening to the speeches of Mr. President. He would always say that we would go back to those lands. I expressed my deepest gratitude to him. He kept his promise. Another prisoner of war, Amin Musayev, recollecting the memories of his capture, said that 2 people from behind caught him and dragged him down. There was a Russian man there. I was not aware he was filming me because I was in great pain. They used to beat me everywhere. Then I woke up on the 14th of the month in a hospital. There is a burn on my neck. They poured hot water on me. Thanks to God I am back in my homeland. I thought I would come back, but not so fast, and this was made possible thanks to the successful policy of our Supreme Commander-in-Chief.
Azerbaycan Television is back in Kəlbəcər region. The purpose of the current trip of our film crew is to cover the trip of the members of Albanian Uyghur Christian community to the Hudavang monastery.
"27 years have passed since April 1993. Just 27 days ago, I couldn't even imagine that I would be able to go to Kəlbəcər. All feelings are mixed in this winter season: excitement, anticipation, surprise, and joy. The soul flutters, the winter sun shines over the mountains, and we go through the passes to Kəlbəcər, overcoming the Murovdağ and the Ömer Pass. We cross the Tartarçay River, and our pass is difficult. The road is long but blessed," describes our special correspondent Ayşem Rüstemova. After 5 hours, we are heading to Hudaveng Monastery in Kəlbəcər from Doğana in Göygöl region. Our path is adorned with inscriptions and signs in the Azerbaijani language. This time, the purpose of the visit is to cover the trip of representatives of the Albanian Uri Christian community to the Hudaveng Monastery. The priests of the Albanian church performed rituals, lit candles, read prayers. Historians claim that Hudaveng Monastery was founded by a man named Dadi, who was a disciple of Thaddeus, the apostle of Jesus Christ. The monastery is considered one of the first Christian churches in the South Caucasus. Vang in the language of the Christian Albanians means monastery, that is a place of worship, a sacred place. Albanian Christians build monasteries mainly along roads, near rivers, and call these places of worship Vang. Albanians living there or nearby visited the churches to perform religious rites. The places where the monasteries were located gradually turned into settlements, around which villages and settlements were formed. There are suggestions that there was some ancient church on the site of the monastery. This is evidenced by the stones with the image of crosses located around the monastery and related to the past centuries. The listed events dated back to 6th to 13th centuries, and the Armenians began to appear in these places at the beginning of the 19th century. From 1240 to 1836, the monastery was the main temple of the Albanian Apostolic Church, and the 1836 year is 8 years after the signing of the Turkmenchai Agreement, that is, on the eve of the mass resettlement of Armenians to these lands. The religious confessional balance in the region is violated in favor of the followers of the Armenian Gregorian religion. However, it's impossible to destroy the traces of history and documentary evidence. Despite the fact that strange inscriptions, crooked oblique crosses are scrawled on the walls of the monastery, real traces of history remain there to this day. Such cult symbols of worship as the sun and the moon among the Albanians who have close ties with the Turks are found on the walls of their prayer services as historical symbols and signs. The walls of Hudaveng, finally decorated with red bricks, are also decorated with these symbols. We are now faced with such a difficult task to expose many years of lies all over the world with substantiated facts. It's impossible to teach without knowing and explain without research. When we left Hudaveng, I prayed about one thing, that all the candles in the world burn only in the name of peace. Glory to the Almighty and the army who led during the battles in honor of the victory. With these words, we are returning to Baku, the capital of Azerbaijan, where religions, confessions, peoples live in friendship and brotherhood. With these words, our special correspondent Ayşem Rüstemova and staff completed their visit to Kəlbəcər region.
President İlham Aliyev signed a decree on the creation of the public entity, the Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution Analysis and Coordination, under the Ministry of Economics of Azerbaijan Republic. According to the experts, the creation of this center will have a positive impact on the development of both our country and the region as a whole.
In order to strengthen Azerbaijan's position in the fourth industrial revolution, which dictates the trends in the global economy and changes the rules of competition, and to be among the leading countries in this field, a public legal entity center for analysis and coordination of the fourth industrial revolution is being established. Azerbaijan's regional leadership in the field of the fourth industrial revolution was praised by the World Economic Forum in Davos. In January 2019, the foundation of cooperation was laid between the government of Azerbaijan and the Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution of the World Economic Forum. President İlham Aliyev and President of the World Economic Forum, Borge Brende, have solemnly exchanged cooperation agreements. The Center of the World Economic Forum analyzes and coordinates all the trends of the Industrial Revolution, including artificial intelligence, e-commerce, data flow, big data, precision health, and provides advice. Borge Brende stressed the important role of Azerbaijan's economic cooperation with neighboring and regional countries and the strengthening economy of our country in the development of the region. Azerbaijan is one of the fastest industrialized countries in the world and one of the leading countries in Europe in terms of GDP. Although this is now due to the production, the non-oil industry has already grown by more than 10% last year. Last year, world industrial production fell by 10%. In industrialization, especially given the application of new technologies, the establishment of the center is considered the next economic reform. The center will cooperate with our country in the field of the fourth industrial revolution and coordinate with international organizations in this field, as well as analyze and coordinate challenges, initiatives, strategies, and projects in the digital economy. A three-member supervisory board is established to provide general management and control over the activities of the center.
That was all for the week. Thank you for watching us and see you next Sunday.